Is it on? Here we go. Hello. I'm live. Hello, hello, hello. It's me again. I'm back. Day 2. I'm back. Day 2. Welcome. Hello, everyone. Welcome. For those of you on YouTube and on the Instagram, I got to figure out TikTok like before the end of this week. For sure. I have to figure it out. But welcome, everyone. Happy, what is it? Tuesday, right? Yeah, it's Tuesday. And we're in the thick of things. So here we are on a Tuesday. Oh man, I don't know why. When I'm bored, I watch The Temptations. Um, they're like movie. If you ever seen The Temptations, it's a very good movie. But I also finished watching today The Gilded Age. I caught up over the holiday weekend on all 3 seasons, and I'm just like, ah! The last episode of season 3 is just amazing, and I'm so happy that it's so well written and so well just done. The storylines, everything, I absolutely love. Will I repost this? Yes. This is going to be reposted. So, not to worry. If you can't be here, it'll be reposted. So, yes, this will be reposted. So, welcome everyone to the AC Brown Show. I'm just going to call it that. Welcome to the AC Brown Show. The good thing about this, right? So, because around this time, I'm usually winding it down. And when I mean winding it down, I'm usually in the shower, doing my skincare routine, about to go to bed. So yeah. Wait, you have COVID? Oh no. Get well, please. Um, yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's genetics, guys. And also, I don't drink or smoke, so that helps as well. But half of it is genetics, and the reason why I say that, if you saw my mom's skin, now she does have like turkey neck and stuff, but she did smoke for 20 years. But she's never had a pimple in her life. So it's genetics. But I did have acne growing up, so it's not that much genetics. I had acne growing up in high school, but then my mom had good insurance, so I was on Accutane. And after that one round of Accutane, I've never had a bad skin day. I get pimples here and there, but yeah, that Accutane just wiped it all away. That was, if you've ever been on Accutane, they show you a, it's not funny. They show you a picture of what is called the Accutane baby. So when you're on Accutane, usually it's teenagers on it. It's very rare. I only know one adult that was actually on Accutane. But when you are on Accutane, you have to take a blood test every month, and you have to take a pregnancy test. So yeah, I was on birth control, so you can't. But I wasn't having sex then. I wasn't having sex, but yeah, that's why I didn't get it, because I was like, I'm not having sex when I was on Accutane when I was in high school. So you had to take a blood test every month and a pregnancy test. Well, the pregnancy test was a blood test, so you didn't get pregnant, because if you did, you would have to abort the baby, because there's such thing called the Accutane baby, and yeah, so yeah. Somebody asked, my big 3 is in water. What are my psychic gifts? Well, I'm not sure. Don't come in here trying to be a taker. Already, we just started. That's rude. So yes, Miss a girly pop. Let's not do that. But tonight we are going to be talking about spiritual gifts. So hold those questions, but I can't tell you what your spiritual gifts are just by you all of your big 3 in water. It could be anything. So tonight we are going to be talking about trusting your spiritual gifts and your psychic gifts without fear. So why am I talking about that? I'm talking about that for various reasons. Now I'm going to research. Don't, please do not research. Please Google, if you want to Google Accutane baby, go ahead and Google Accutane baby, and it's not going to be a pretty sight. I don't know if they actually show like the baby out of the womb, but they show the baby in the womb. When I was on Accutane way back in, not way back, but long enough, they showed you a picture of the baby in utero. So it was a ultrasound, and the baby is just really deformed. It's very, very deformed. It's not a pretty sight, but you cannot have babies on Accutane. So yeah, so just Google Accutane baby. Please Google Accutane baby. It's a mess. Anyway, so tonight we're talking about trusting your psychic gifts, your spiritual gifts without fear. And I want to create a safe space for people who have been hiding their spiritual gifts, whether that stems from your religious background or anything like that. So I just want this to be kind of a safe space. Oh no, sorry to bring it back to that. My bad. What? Oh, your Accutane baby. No, it's fine. Don't worry about the Accutane baby. Go research Accutane baby, guys. You will be very upset about the Accutane baby. So, here's the thing. A lot of people pretend that they don't have spiritual gifts or psychic gifts because of the stigma. I'm one of those people. So I spent a lot of years not talking about my spiritual gifts, or it was like kept inside, like kept within family, especially with my grandmother. It was very contained growing up. But then as I started going out in the world, I could not downplay my psychic gifts, my mediumship. I couldn't downplay it because it was just very prevalent. So whether it's your family expectations, or you come from a religious background, or whether even it's fear or judgment because you just don't want to be weird. That's the biggest thing that I remember. Just like, I don't want to be weird. Or you just don't want people to like not understand you. So I want to talk about what do you do if you have gifts, and how to finally trust them without being fearful of them, and how to lean into that, okay? And so, like I said, this is for anyone who's been hiding their spiritual gifts, no matter what your background. So your gifts aren't weird, they aren't crazy, they aren't like outrageous. They're just a natural kind of spiritual inheritance that you have. So we're gonna celebrate the courage that it takes to use your spiritual gifts and be authentically you spiritually. And before I did this professionally, I used this a lot in corporate America, especially in sales, using it a lot with figuring out your bosses. I will say this, I was always on a PIP. Okay, if you worked in sales, you know what a PIP is. It's a performance plan. I was always on one. And my bosses hated putting me on PIPs because I was like in their brain. I always had like really great relationships with them, and they would always get so upset, like, you're so good at sales, why aren't you hitting your numbers? I'm like, because I don't want to be here. Like, but I never said that to them. So yeah, I will say that. So when you have spiritual gifts, you are always going to feel weird and feel different. So a lot of people hide their spiritual gifts for various reasons, okay? And they hide their spiritual gifts. Many people stay hidden in the spiritual realm for various reasons. So there's so many reasons why people suppress their gifts. So some of the reasons, of course, are fear of judgment. So what will people think if I tell them I'm psychic, if I'm telling them I'm a medium? Not being seen as weird or crazy or attention seeking. Professional concerns about their reputation. For me, I did tell people who I was close to when I was working in corporate, and that became people who I started reading. And people who would come to me every year for readings, and some people still come to me every year for readings. Or fear of losing friends for not being understood. That is something that happens a lot. when you are, especially when you come from religious backgrounds or you have people in your life who have religious ideologies. So a lot of family and cultural pressure. So growing up in families where they don't believe in your spiritual gifts or support your spiritual abilities. So many cultural backgrounds, they view different spiritual gifts as either taboo or very dangerous. Yes, or people fearing being taken advantage of. So conflicting beliefs about what's acceptable, what's spiritual. I know for me, my biggest, you have to have boundaries, which we'll talk about that. My biggest, I don't read family at all. That's just, if you share the same DNA as me, absolutely not. And I also have a rule with people who I have been romantically involved in. I will not read anybody from their bloodline. Absolutely not. Sister, brothers, cousins, mothers, no one. I don't need that energy intertwined with mine. Those are like my two biggest rules. I won't read family members. I will read friends, and anybody who I've been romantically involved with, like in the past, I will not read anyone in their bloodline. That's a big no for me. I started doing that years ago, like 10 years ago. I don't play those games. And of course, religious kind of programming, being taught that that's the biggest thing. Psychic abilities, mediumship, those things are evil, they're demonic, they're forbidden. Like I said, growing up, my grandmother told me the biggest difference between me and a prophet was one of us knows how to recite Bible verses quicker. And that just helped me out a lot. Fear of going against religious teachings or disappointing the religious spiritual community. The psychic path in religion is prophecy. So they actually have classes and teachings and things to be a prophet in religion. So it's the same thing as someone taking a class with me or taking a class with a medium or someone else getting trained. They just do it through religious practices. And so also having imposter syndrome. This happens a lot. I think it happens more, imposter syndrome happens more with claircognizance and clairaudience, because those are very two mental clairs that are really challenging sometimes to differentiate between your voice and spirit's voice. But clairvoyance is pretty straightforward. Clair empathy, clear empathy, that is a little bit more straightforward with that. So you don't have that much imposter syndrome because you can't unsee what you see, right? And so, or other people seem like the imposter syndrome, people seem more gifted than you are. Everyone's psychic, you just need to practice, pretty much. So what is the cost when you suppress your spiritual gifts? Well. It's annoying, pretty much. So when you suppress your spiritual gifts, you feel very, very disconnected from your authentic self. You don't feel like that you are honoring some part of you. You feel very, how can I put this? You do feel this feeling of not, I don't want to say doing the right thing. It almost feels like you could say more, you could do more. I think you miss opportunities to help others with your abilities. Now, I'm going to pause there because I learned very early on from one of my mentors. I'm not one of those mediums or psychics that just walk up to people and tell them information. I think that as a lack of boundaries, and that is honest, like disrespectful to the other person in their life. I hate when I see it online. I hate when I see really talented psychics or mediums that just like film them walking up to people and giving them prophecy and all like that. No, there's a time and a place. And sometimes people don't want to know that information. And I think that you should respect someone's boundaries and where they are in life for information. So those are like kind of things. Other things is that you can feel very isolated. The spiritual path, unfortunately, is isolating. No matter how much you want to deny it. When you're going on your spiritual journey, or you're starting your spiritual awakening, blah, 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 whatever they want to call it, it is kind of isolating. And it's isolating just really due to the fact that it's your personal journey. It is a journey for yourself. This is not a journey that involves other people, or that you need to go and like have a whole crew of people with you. It is personal. It is your own ebbs and flows through life. And on your spiritual journey, you're going to feel isolated, and you're going to feel like you don't belong anywhere, especially when your spiritual gifts start getting louder. And the reason why people don't heal is because they don't want to tap into their spiritual gifts. And here's why. When you start your healing journey, whether that's therapy, somatics, there have been studies, I need to find those studies, where people have talked about how they feel like they've become more psychic. And I talk about this in my new book that's coming out in February, Embody Your Magic. You can pre-order it. And I talk about how everyone's psychic. It's just that life situations and things of that nature, they come in and they kind of tear us down, and they help us build this wall between where we are in the material world and where we are spiritually in the spiritual realm. And it makes it harder for us to see, it makes it harder for us to hear, to feel, and to know things in the spiritual realm. So when you start healing and you start dismantling any of those walls or any of those barriers, you do become more psychic. And that scares people, because you're more open to the spiritual realm. You're more open to having more spiritual a connection there. I always tell people, just, put your hand in front of your body, and where you are and on the other side, that is the spiritual realm. It's that close. So when you start healing and you start being more open to things, the spiritual realm is already there for you. So that can be hard. But things are changing, because Pluto is in Aquarius. And I talked about this on several different platforms, and I even have an ebook about Pluto and Aquarius. But things are changing. There is this great shift, this great awakening, or as I like to say, from Pluto and capitalism to Pluto and Cat Williams to Pluto and Aquarius. More people are speaking out about their spiritual experiences. Social media is connecting people and figuring out like, oh, there's a lot of people in the neurodivergent and ADHD community are like, hey, wait, these things that I have are spiritual gifts. And there's more growing acceptance of psychic and intuitive abilities and mediumship abilities. It's my goal for everyone to use their psychic abilities in their day-to-day life. That's one of my missions and passions. And the shame around these gifts are breaking down, mostly because they are so important for us to have and to talk about within our communities, within our families, within the work that we do. Your intuition does not go anywhere. Your intuition is a gift for you. And when you can see things and hear things for other people, it's even better. Now, you do not have to do this professionally. You can use it in your own professions in many different ways. So someone said that resonates. My chart reflects that I'm intuitive, but I'm constantly gaslit in relationships, and it's hindered the connection. Well, don't let people gaslight you. That's not good, because when they gaslight you, they're just gaslighting themselves. As the great Prince said, playing me is playing yourself. Okay? So don't let people do that. So tell me what is kind of the biggest reason you've hidden your spiritual gifts. If you want to drop that in the chat, let me know what fears you have, if you have any fears. So you have spiritual gifts, and it's really important for you to lean into them. So I need some water. See, when I talk, my mouth be dry. I don't have an Olipop. I'm gonna save that for later. You left. I love my Olipops. That other And I hate to be a probiotic soda hater, but Poppy is nasty. I don't know why people like it. It is absolutely disgusting. Okay. Um, ugh. But Poppy, they're just phenomenal. All the flavors are good. I love Poppy soda. Somebody said when I was younger, I tell kids in my school that I was psychic, and they call. I'm sorry, the way you wrote that. They call me psycho. So I stopped. I quickly stopped talking about it. Well, that's not good. You're not psycho. Well, hopefully you're not. You don't have a picture in your profile, so I don't know. Just being honest. No, for real. But you have to ignore that, of course. You're not psycho, but kids don't understand that. So that's what happens. I'm clairaudient, which is a term I've only recently learned about in the past 5 years. I always think that I'm making things up or not trusting what I do. Yes. Poppy sucks. Poppy sucks. Olipop is where it's at. Poppy sucks. And I'll yell it from the rooftops. Poppy soda is nasty. Anyway, sorry, I will like pull out a soapbox and like why Poppy soda is disgusting. It has no flavor. It's bland. It's ugh. Anyway, yes, I'm gonna be saving this live, so it'll be on YouTube and it'll be saved on Instagram, but YouTube will probably like look better. Let's disagree to distill much love. Listen, don't get into a Poppy war with me. I cursed out, not cursed out. I got so upset with one of my Instacart shoppers. I was like, please get me any type of Olipop flavor. And she was like, yes, I know, Poppy's disgusting. So it's a universal thing. It's East Coast, West Coast kind of war there with the Poppy. Someone said ADHD, Aquarius rising here. I want to write and go back to working with art, but I fear I'll get too distracted and that I'm not worth it. I'm confused about your psychic gifts about doing that. Is that the question? Someone said fear of misinterpreting the gifts downloads. Oftentimes they aren't very detailed, just a phrase or word or two. So when you get phrases or just words, you're just not leaning into the connection. You need to come up with some type of ritual or practice to write things down. So here's the thing about psychic abilities, intuitive abilities, all of that. What's really happening is that you are too focused on looking for validation from the physical world. You have to trust the spiritual world. So you have to build your relationship spiritually. And that takes time and it takes practice. Okay? So you have to do that. I always believe other people are more gifted than I am. So I'm constantly thinking and saying I'm none of those things. Well, that's unfortunate. People are only as gifted as they do. So as they practice, as they are, as they be, as they allow, why do they have more active gifts? So people who are highly sensitive have a lot of spiritual antennas, or they're connected to that. Surprisingly, trauma, illness, difficult experiences, accidents, pregnancy heighten your psychic abilities. You'll hear many stories where people will have really horrible accidents or health issues or something where it takes them either near death experiences or kind of their life is in jeopardy, and then when they come out of it they become very highly attuned because that barrier is kind of broken. Or your family lineage, if you have people in your family who are psychic, everyone's psychic abilities is different. So I think what happens when people feel like people are more gifted than other people, that is just because you are looking at TV or you're looking at how somebody else does it. Everyone's psychic abilities are very different. How I read is very different. It's very fragmented. But I'm literally putting together a puzzle in my mind. Like, all right, you gave me this, you gave me that. What am I supposed to do with that? When I have people come through in my readings, many times I get, and I think this is, I feel very blessed for this, but I get a lot of people, I don't know why. Older people, and when I say older, I would say people like past 70, they love showing me who they were when they were younger. It is like their thing. They want to show me how gorgeous they were, how beautiful they were. I get a lot of hair stuff. They show me their hair. They show me how their hair was, how their skin was. They compare themselves to actors, like Hollywood actors, like from in the past. They love showing me how good looking they were when they were younger. So some people don't get that. Or I've had mentors tell me, I've never had anyone explain my mother's or my grandmother's emotions. People's emotions come through a lot with me. How they were feeling about their death or how they were feeling about their life. So that's different. Everybody doesn't have that. So it's always going to be very, very different for you when you're doing this work or if you are tapping into it. So don't be envious. It's not that people are more talented. They just have a different connection with spirit, with their spirit guides, with the spirit realm. And that's just practice and more healing. I always like to say if someone is a little bit more, not necessarily psychic or a better medium, that they just have a different connection than I do. Someone said, yeah, I find it hard to zone into one channel. There's also interference. You just have to learn how to quiet your mind. And that's wrong to say quiet your mind. You have to figure out a way to make the voices or the sounds or the energies kind of subdue in the best way you can. So maybe it's walking, maybe it's in the shower. It really depends. Sometimes I feel, Lexi said, sometimes I feel I'm getting messages in my dreams, but it can be hard to decipher what some things in the dreams mean. So when you get a lot of dreams, don't try and analyze them. Just when you wake up, I have several different notebooks besides my bed. When I wake up, I write everything that I can remember down as quick as possible. All the way until I saw the color red 4 times and it was in the corner of my eye, all that stuff. Just write it down. You can interpret it another way next time. While I was pregnant with my twins, see, when you're pregnant, you can see stuff when you get into accidents. When life-changing things happen, you can see stuff. Ever since then, I've been able to travel in my dreams, but I have no control over it. It's not that you don't have control over it. Your astral projection is a skill, but it also is something that can happen just randomly. There are different techniques and ways to astral project. I've tried some. I haven't had any experience with it necessarily working. When I was in high school and some of college, I talk about this in my book, I became addicted to over-the-counter sleep medications because I used to astral project so much. And I need to go to school in the morning. So I would be popping Benadryls, Tylenol PM, Advil PM, just to go to sleep. Of course, I no longer do that. That was horrible on my body back then, and horrible on my liver. But I used to astral project a lot. And I used to be like, listen, I got to go to school in the morning. This is not going to work. So I had to stop doing that. But I have lots of sleep practices now, and I haven't astral projected in a long time. I think it comes at different lifespans and stages and stuff like that. So someone said, I'm claircognizance and clairsentience are my strongest senses, and I have so much fear when I go to speak my truth and promote my work. Why? No one's going to fight you. That's my motto. No one's going to fight me in real life. They're not. I promise. And if they do, you press charges. Okay? So speak your truth. It's the internet. If you listen, if it wasn't for Instagram stories, you probably wouldn't know who I am. That's how I was scared to show my face. I started Instagram stories because I knew it would be gone in 24 hours. I would show up every day on Instagram stories, and I started posting content and doing that. And I had a Facebook group. Now I would post in my Facebook group. My Facebook group was lit. I did classes in there. I did all the things, but like publicly, so it can just like live. I was like, oh hell no. But my Facebook group, it was lit. It was amazing. So you just have to show up. I know every dream is not a message. Is there a way to know which dreams should be paid more? All dreams are a message, Lexi. Every dream is a message. I don't know who told you that. Every dream is a message, whether it's for you or some. Every dream is a message. There's always a psychological every dream is a message. That is spirit, your body. That's something speaking to you. Every single dream is a message. Write down your dreams. Someone said, can psychic gifts also come in the form of images? Yes. From time to time, I'll see images, but no. Yes, they come in the form of images. For me, a movie starts playing. I get like a scene, so I'll get thrown into a scene when I have sessions or when I get information. So it really depends. Someone said, I saw my son. I miscarried. In 2023, and I saw him last night too. I've been talking to the ancestors since I was like 5. It just came naturally to talk to them while walking. Oh, well, I'm so happy that you got to see your son. That is beautiful. That happened to me too. I had a miscarriage the year that the Orange Man first was elected. And I conceived on election night. That was a bad time. What was that, 2016? I conceived on election night, and then I had a miscarriage. That was not supposed. Thank God. But anyway, a few months later, I had a dream about the soul, and it was a girl, and I was like, oh, she was cute too. But sometimes that happens. Just, thank the soul and talk to it. All of that. How do I tap into my gifts? I've always known when someone is pregnant before they announce or is visible. This has been the case for people I know, public figures. Just write it down, Erica. Write it down, because you can't you guys have to write down stuff. It's so important for you to write down things. If you don't write it down, you're going to make this journey harder. So some of the ways that different types of spiritual gifts show up and why you need to write things down. So if you're clairvoyant, you see images, visions, colors, spirits in your mind, in your eye, or physically, you have to write that down. If you're claircognizant people and clairaudient people, you have to write stuff down, because you just know stuff without being told. You get downloads of information. If you're a clairaudient, you hear messages, you hear voices, you hear music. It's so annoying, because those are my top two clairs. My top 3 are clairvoyance, but clairaudience and claircognizance. Being clairaudient is annoying, especially when you're standing next to someone and music starts playing, and that's been happening to me for a very long time. It's the most annoying thing. You have to write it down. Just write down the song, write down the movie, whatever happens. If you're a clairtangent, when you touch stuff, getting psychic information through touching objects or people. I know someone who used to do this professionally, and she was really good at it. She did it for wealthy people. Hey Jackie, if you ever watch this, she was really good at it. So you just have to write things down. You have to write them down. I don't know exactly if he was a boy technically, because it was too soon. But if he came to you, then he was a boy. Atia, if that's what came to you in your dream, he was a boy. Yes, watch the replay. Yes, it's good to know. My clairsentience is overwhelming as I tend to absorb other people's emotions. Clairsentience, you have to build boundaries. You have to build boundaries. You have to build boundaries. Because clairsentience is emotions, physical sensations, or energies that are not yours. You have to build boundaries and cleanse. So there's so many types of different mediumship and psychic abilities, and so that's why it's important, because when it comes to mediumship, there's mental mediumship, which is receiving messages from spirits, thoughts, images, and there's physical mediumship. I'm so glad I am not a physical medium. They, see people like right there. Sometimes I have people visit me. The last time I had someone visit me, this is why, and I'm laughing, but I told my therapist, and my therapist was like, "Did you say anything to her?" I was like, "No, I went to sleep." So the last time I had someone visit me, I don't know who it was. I'm laughing because this is how I know that I've just grown as a medium, a psychic, as all of this spiritual shit. I had rolled over and there was this lady standing there with a baby, and I was just like, I rolled back over and I went to sleep. I said, I don't have time for this shit. And I rolled right back over and I went to bed. I didn't get up startled or anything. And I went right back to sleep. And I was just like, absolutely not. I have to get up and do stuff. This is probably like last year sometime. My therapist was like, well, did you say anything to her? I said, no, I don't know. But she was there I went about my business. I was tired. But she was just standing next to the bed and she had a baby in her arms. And I was just like, I don't have time for this. But anyway, so it's different type of abilities. So you may have energy or healing abilities where you're able to channel through your hands. So it's not just about psychic abilities and mediumship abilities. You may be a healer where healing through your hands, or sensing people's auras, or sensing how other people feel their emotional pain. You may have a lot of precognition abilities or retrocognition, where knowing about the past that someone holds. So that's a psychic ability too. Knowing someone's past is an ability. Precognition is centrifuging. Psychometry is holding objects from different spaces, places, all of that, or remote viewing. I know a woman who is a phenomenal remote viewer. I took a few of her classes. I love remote viewing, but I don't have the concentration for that. Sometimes you are good at remote viewing. The government hires a lot of remote viewers to find stuff, but they have a whole program if you don't know about that. Or sometimes you're an animal communicator. I love communicating with animals. When I'm on the phone with people and I see a dog, I have a dog voice, and my friends are like, "Oh, your dog voice, there must be a dog," because I love communicating with animals. Or you might communicate with plants. That's another psychic ability or spiritual gift. Or spirit guide communication, or angels. You might do that. So you just have to stop ignoring those signs. Someone said, that was your birthday. Oh my God. That was your birthday and election day. I write down dreams, but only if I have a strong emotion when I wake up. No, just write them down all the time. People visiting with me scare me. That's it. Listen, it doesn't bother me anymore. Hey, Shauna. It does not bother me anymore. But she sure did stand there, and I looked, and I said, I'm going back to sleep. I recently had someone quite intensely project their energy on me for several weeks. I welcomed it. He was cute, but then I started to wonder if I was making all of... You probably weren't. Don't let no man siphon no energy off of you. Block that shit. Please don't do that. Especially, oh God. Please don't let no man siphon no energy off of you. Block it. Remove it. Remove your energy. Do not do that at all. Yuck. No. They will take. Don't do that. And that's just not from No, block that energy. Don't let anybody siphon energy off of you. Um, Especially not a man, please. So let's talk about some signs you have gifts, even though you've been ignoring them. Let's talk about some signs. So, number one sign, you have psychic gifts if you had imaginary friends. I had imaginary friends. If you knew people, knew things about people without being told, if you were afraid of certain places for no reason, that's a huge sign. If you have vivid dreams that came true, a lot of deja vu stuff is prevalent for people, children, childhood signs. Any daily life signs, knowing who people call before they answer the phone, having strong feelings about someone or a place, feeling drained in crowds. You can sense when someone is lying or hiding something. People always come to you with their problems. People, sometimes that can be both a healing technique and sometimes not. You have to have boundaries with that. Some other spiritual signs are you see shadows of light, or you see people like out of the corner of your eye, or you feel like people are following you, or you feel a presence, or the room shift in, temperature. Those are signs that you know that you are connected to spirit. Or electronics mess up around you, or you find a lot of coins and feathers in unusual places. A lot of physical signs, though. You're sensitive to light, for sure, or sound or touch. You get headaches, or you feel sick in certain places or spaces. Animals and children are naturally drawn to you. That's a huge sign. You can sense illness in other people's bodies or pregnancy. You feel energy in different parts of your body or your hands, or when you touch people. There are so many types of spiritual gifts, and people automatically always just leave it to being psychic or medium or claircognizant, all of that. Some people are healers. Some people have the healing abilities, like with their hands. Like my grandmother had a very natural healing ability. My grandmother used to own a daycare. She raised, my nose is itching. Sorry. My nose is itching. I think it's because of the lotion that I put on it. I'm scratching it a lot. I don't have a substance abuse problem. That is common with people, but please just, my mind is all over the place when I think about things. I'm like, oh my God, they might think I'm on that stuff. I'm not. Please, it's nothing wrong if you are, get help. But my nose is itching for other reasons. Anyway, like I was saying, my grandmother owned a daycare, and my grandmother was a big part of the Church of Unity. And back in the day, in the, I think like 60s and 70s, they used to have these unity picnics, and my grandmother was a healer, and people would go to her because she would make stuff, concoctions. And when she would go to the unity picnics, like in the 60s and the 70s, like doctors would kind of come and ask her questions like, Miss Brown, how long are you keeping children like on penicillin when they get sick? Like my grandmother was such a great healer. Like she was like, oh, I don't know how long it was, but doctors would always ask her questions about different remedies and stuff like that. And we had a doctor in our neighborhood, and it's so funny, like when I used to get sick and we used to go, like we just had to like walk around the corner because one of the doctors in the neighborhood, he had an office in his basement where my grandmother lived, and I remember him saying, oh, she really must be sick, because if Miss Brown sent her here, she really must be sick. If my grandmother couldn't fix it, because she was a healer. So some of you are healers. Some of you have the gift of touch, the gift of your voice. So just pay attention to what people are drawn to you and how people are drawn to you with the different things that you have. Yeah. So sorry, I'm seeing that people laughing at my comment. Yes. Siobhan said, oh Lord, you're describing me with the light sensitivity and getting sick in certain places. Yes, please pay attention with that, especially the light sensitivity, the sound sensitivity, getting sick when you go to certain places. Please, please, please pay attention to that. That is important because you are sensitive to it for a reason. So there's some type of force there or something like that, right? So pay attention to that. So I want to also talk about why it feels so bad to have spiritual gifts sometimes. And there's a lot of shame and a lot of fear programming around it. So let's be honest, having spiritual gifts can be scary and some people can feel wrong. A lot of people who I work with, they do come from religious backgrounds and they're kind of shedding that religious dogma and they want to step more into their spiritual gifts. So spiritual gifts, psychic abilities, all of that stuff has been showed as demonic or dangerous, or it's not holy enough, or your spiritual experiences are wrong. So a lot of people have fear around that. But that is, don't be afraid of that, because you were born and that's the gift that you were given. So it can't be demonic, it can't be bad, because you exist and your soul chose to come here. So you're not demonic, you're not bad if you have psychic gifts, intuitive gifts, or mediumship gifts. Use them in a way that makes you feel comfortable. You don't have to open up a shop and say, hey, I'm psychic. That's not everybody's path, but maybe you use those abilities within your community to heal people. Like I said, maybe you use your hands and you're a healer who knows how to grow things and you know how to feed the community. Maybe all of these things are psychic and intuitive abilities. Anything that you can take and you can connect people to the spiritual realm and help them better themselves, or help them see better, help them hear better, or help them understand themselves better. That's a gift, regardless. That's a gift and a talent. So I love mediumship work because I connect people and give them clarity on what their loved ones have to say to them in the afterlife. Even though they're already right there, sometimes you just need confirmation. So if you have the ability to give someone confirmation, including yourself, step into your spiritual gifts. Start doing the work, whether it's journaling, whether it's practicing a little bit, whether you can just slide it in there in your work time. Use them. And people are always so afraid that they're going to abuse them or people are going to abuse you. You have boundaries, you have discernment. Some people don't have discernment, but you have to grow and get into that discernment. That's going to be the best thing for you. I don't want you to shy away from your natural abilities, your, goddess given talents and abilities that you came here with. And life just kind of threw a bunch of crap on you, so you didn't use them. Heal yourself, heal your lineage, heal for the people around you, and start using these gifts. They're going to help someone, and they're going to help, yourself. And you're not too sensitive, you're not overly emotional, you are not a bad person because you have these gifts. Use them and figure out how to use them in the best way that you can. Someone said deja vu and people coming with me with their problems are big. Deja vu, I actually hate that. That's annoying. I'd rather just see your life. I'm gonna be honest. Just see your life. Deja vu frustrates the hell out of me because I can never pinpoint. I spend so much time trying to figure out where did I see this person, and because I'm so tapped in, I'm trying to figure out, did I have a dream about them? Is there something happening in the future? Deja vu takes too much energy from me, so I really hate when I have it. But if you do have deja vu, the best thing to do is to write it down. I tell everyone, any class that I've taught, please write down. Bring a notebook with you. Put it in your purse. Put it in your back pocket if you don't have a purse. Write down everything. If you talk to the barista at the coffee shop and it feels weird, write down on Tuesday, I went and got my regular coffee and I felt like someone was choking me. That's energy. Or I smelled something funny or my body got tense when I went to this place. You have to write down everything. That's the only way you're going to kind of gain the confidence and prove that you're right. A lot of everyone's psychic, that's number one. But a lot of you like to tiptoe and toy around your gifts because you want to be wrong about things that you wish were right. Okay? And so you do that whole dance around stuff, and like, no, that's actually what's happening. You actually did see that. You actually did hear that. You actually did understand that. So just write it down. It's very simple. Just write it down. Get into the practice of writing it down. Open up a little folder on your phone, for goodness sake. And psychic hits that I've got, intuitive hits that I got. It's very simple. Do I have any recommendations for books? Yes, my book, Embody Your Magic. Listen, I have to sell books, guys. Embody Your Magic. It comes out February 17th, 2026. You can pre-order it anywhere you can buy books. Okay? Go pre-order it now. But if you want something now, I'll do a carousel on my favorite books that I like for symbols and psychic things, and you can probably find some of them on Audible too, so you can listen to them as well. Someone said, yes. Do I have book recommendations? Yes, the book behind, yes, I have 3 big things. I have tons of book recommendations. I'll do a carousel on that, because that will probably be better, so I can take pictures of them so you can see, and I can put why I like the book and why I think you should read the book. Someone said, I spend too much time trying to figure out. Yeah, that's why I hate deja vu. It's so annoying. Yes, you can pre-order my book today. I haven't officially started the pre-order run, but pre-order it. I got to sell a lot of books. You can go to Amazon, to Bookshop. You can go to Barnes and Nobles, anywhere where you can buy a book. Go pre-order Embody Your Magic by A.C. Brown. The cover is purple and gold. It's gorgeous. And there's a chapter on mediumship, and there's a chapter on psychic channeling. So there you go. So thank you. My book cover is gorgeous. Yes, please order it. I'm going to be talking about the book a lot. Now, October, November, December, especially January. That's all I'm going to be talking about is the damn book. Any questions that you all have about your abilities? But how do you learn to trust them and trust your abilities? Know that your gifts are normal. Know that they're natural. Know that these abilities are natural things, that they're your 5 senses just operating on a very different frequency. Many cultures have their own way of honoring people with these abilities, because in my opinion, having a psychic in your life as a friend or a mentor is very valuable to your life, especially someone that you trust. You're not weird, you're not cursed, you're just more spiritually aware. So many people have these experiences, but they're just afraid to talk about them. And your gifts are needed in this world. Like I said, you don't have to open up shop and do what I do. I used to use it in corporate America. Use it in the places that matter to you. The world needs your energy. We all need psychic abilities. We all need psychic energy. Your sensitivity brings a lot of healing to people, brings a lot of closure and happiness to people. So, like I said, the reason why it's very important for you to carry around a notebook and to start analyzing all of the intuitive hits that you're having is you're building evidence. You're building a case for your abilities. Every time you write down a shape, a number, a color, what you were thinking at this time, what you sensed, what you smelled, how your body felt, how it didn't felt, what that little phrase or word that someone said and then things became off after it. That is building evidence for yourself to know that your gifts are real. You have to practice in very low stake environments and low stake situations so you can build that muscle. Remember, your most psychic self, especially if you don't do this professionally, and even me, your most psychic self is when you were a child. Okay? So when you were a child and you had imaginary friends and you were a kid and you couldn't talk or you couldn't speak, or even when you could talk, that was your most psychic self. So think about all the years of all of the BS and all of the stuff that has been, you know, implanted in your mind about the world, about how you should feel, all the relationships that you've been through, all of the experiences that you had in school, at work, with friends, with family, with community, society, freaking the government, systematic oppression, racism, all of that stuff is on top of your psychic ability. So as you heal, as you remove these layers, that's what makes them stronger. But in the process, you have to build evidence for these gifts. You have to start building a case. Like, oh, okay, I am claircognizant. Oh, okay, I am clairvoyant. Oh, okay, this is not my imagination. This is not anxiety. And kind of like knowing the difference between that, because right now you're just like tiptoeing into these things and you're not utilizing them for what they're worth. Getting you out of shitty relationships that you should have been out of 2-3 years ago. Not taking that job because, oh my gosh, you felt that your boss was going to be a fucking lunatic, but you said, hey, I gotta work here, when you could have maybe found another avenue. Or going to a place and just not having a good experience, or just getting like out of alignment with what you're supposed to do. We all can look at a bad situation or something that has happened to us and pinpoint where we knew we could have got out of it, because we got that intuitive hit. We had that vision. You had that voice that said, maybe not. But you didn't listen, because half of the battle with psychic abilities, with intuitive abilities, with mediumship, with any type of healing, channeling, is trusting yourself. That's literally what you're learning to do, is to trust what you see, hear, feel, smell, all of that. It's trusting yourself. So the more that you write these things down, the more you trust yourself, the more you can come back and say, oh, when I see this, I know this. So for instance, when I do mediumship readings and someone shows me their chest area, or I feel something in my chest, I know that they have died a certain way. Or when they take me to like the scene of the crime, and when, not the scene of the actual crime, but the scene of like moments before or something like that. Or a lot of people like taking me to their deathbed to explain, like, especially if the person who's sitting was there, and they like to explain like, oh, I had a really great transition, it wasn't bad, I remember this, that, and the other, whatever. But anyway, please start paying attention to stuff. And you have to kind of like reframe it. I think someone said earlier, like, I don't want people to take advantage of me. No is a complete sentence. My mother today will be like, oh, can you give me a reading? I'll be like, no. It's very simple. No, I don't. No, I don't. Ignoring the intuitive hits always come back to, they come back to bite everybody. They come back to bite everybody. It's not just you. Everybody ignores them. Any questions? Does anyone have any questions? So here's some things that I want you to do. 3 things. I want you to spend 5 to 10 minutes a day either going on a walking meditation, doing some type of somatic breathing, doing some type of movement in your body and tracking how you feel. Then throughout the day, I want you to write down any first impressions of people, places, and things when you are going certain places. And then at the evening, I want you to journal about it. There's this journal that for my first round of my informed practitioner training, It's an intuitive journal. Everybody loves it. Some people probably have already used it, but they don't sell it anymore. And I wish they sold this freaking journal. I've contacted the people and I'm like, oh yeah, we're gonna do another run. They haven't. It's this perfect journal, and it's a journal where you write down your intuitive hits. It's amazing. I should have brought more, but I didn't. It sucks. But I want you to do that and journal about your stuff. Someone said, how are ways to connect with psychic abilities? So just building a case, building evidence, writing down everything that you see, hear, feel when you go into certain spaces. When you see angel numbers, Lord Jesus, y'all in these angel numbers. When you see angel numbers, don't immediately be like, oh my God, I saw 1111. That means the love of my life is coming into. No. When you see an angel number, I want you to try and focus on what you were thinking or feeling at the time that you saw the angel number. The angel number is just the kind of confirmation from spirit that what you were thinking or feeling or even talking about is in alignment, not the actual number itself. Lord, y'all in these angel numbers are gonna, I mean, goddamn, it's getting out of hand. Just think about what you were saying, what you were doing, like literally freeze and like pause and like, what was I doing? What was I thinking? What was I talking about? And that's it. It's just like a knock, knock, you're on the right path kind of thing. Do you have recommendations for somatic dance certifications or where to get trained? No. Somatics is just dance first. Just dance. Just turn on some music, build a playlist, and dance. Feel it in your body and dance. So many numbers, yes. Just dance. Any other questions? I don't think anybody has any other questions. Lately, numbers have been coming up right when I want to tell somebody at work about themselves. See? That's spirit telling you to shut up, Lexi. That's probably what that is. See? That is probably like, oh, wait, maybe you shouldn't say anything. See? That's what angel numbers are really for. That's what they're for when you're thinking about doing something. Well, if none of you all have any questions, it's been a pleasure. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll be talking about something else. I don't know what we're going to talk about tomorrow. We'll see. I mean, I have like lists of things that I want to talk about over this next month. Tons of stuff. Now, if you haven't pre-ordered my book, pre-order my book, Embody Your Magic. I talk about all the things, and it's a mix of my life story. If you want to book a session with me, Voice of Truth session, or me and my guide session, click the link in my bio. I'm also hosting a workshop. It's a 2-day workshop on the 20th and the 21st. It's going to be an hour. The first day, an hour and a half, we're going to be doing dream work. It's called the Big Three. It's showing you how to manifest for the last 3 months of the year. So definitely sign up for that. It's going to be on the 20th and the 21st at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard. 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And there's instructions. So as soon as you sign up, you'll get instructions for what we're going to be talking about. So we're going to be doing some dream work, some dream interpretation work, so you can tap into your dreams and your nervous system to figure out how to manifest for the rest of the year and for 2026. So I will be back. Wait, someone said thank you. This was good. Key take, yes, write shit down. I'll be back tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Which one of your readings will help me deal with the end of a karmic relationship? Probably the Me and My Guides, but if you want action steps and you want me to get in your ass, I would do a Voice of Truth session because you have a longer time with me. So it's up to you. But if you want something quick, right then and there, probably the Me and My Guide session would be good. But if you want longer time and then an action plan, because with the Me and My Guides, we do some mediumship, psychic stuff, and then we look at your human design in the Voice of Truth session, your human design and your astrological chart, see if any transits, and then I send you a whole plan. I send you a big It's like between 25 and 45 pages of information about your placements, about next steps, some rituals in there. It's a whole document of that I put together after our session based off of what we talked about to take you forward in the next like 3 to 6 months. So that's the Voice of Truth session. The Me and My Guide session is just 20 minutes, you, me, spirit, any one of your people who come through. Spirit got anything to say, all of that stuff. So, oh yes, 13 years. Oh, well, congratulations that that's over. I'm sure that's been the best thing for you. It might not feel like it, but it will be. So I'll be back tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It was a pleasure. Yes, the Voice of Truth session, that's the longer one, and the Me and My Guides. But if you're on my mailing list, you'll also see, by the way, I have a Voice of Truth membership now, because people have been asking me about it. So if you go to the shop in my store, the Voice of Truth membership, you have a year to use the session. So you get 2 Voice of Truth sessions, and you get 4 Me and My Guide sessions, plus you get 2 6-month transit reports custom to you on when you need to do certain things. So when you need to, launch something, if you wanted to move, whatever, using some zodiac releasing techniques, some transits, human design stuff. So you have a year to use it. You get 2 Voice of Truth sessions, and you get 4 Me and My Guide sessions, plus 2 transit reports that are for 6 months at a time. So you have a year. That's the Voice of Truth membership that is in the shop now. Okay. All right, everyone. Well, good night and enjoy your evening. And I will see you all tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So bye-bye.